So basically, we started some vulnerability scans by making use of the NSS tool and limiting the port range and what type of scans we wanted, and found we have a lot of backdoor vulnerabilities, and there were some services which was unauthenticated and operate on default passwords, and some of them had the weak cryptographic configurations, and some of them, like for example the private keys, were stored without any encryptions, and we listed all of them using the NSS. And next, we as a team divided our work among the three. First, we made sure that each of them worked on the Metasploit, Netcat, curl, and various other tools. I took the responsibility of scanning the all the three VMs that we are trying to pen test, and we found out that the PAT is not configured on the external router, and we are only able to make the command injection for obtaining a shell and not a reverse shell, because our IP is in the private domain. And we divided our work and decided whom all will attack which all VM. And I did all the necessary scan, and I'll be attacking 1.168 VM, and Prajwal would be attacking 175 VM, and Neat will be attacking 177 VM, and we coordinated about each and every exploit that we came across and helped each other to find more and more vulnerabilities. So this was the network system architecture, and here we have four VMs: 57, 168, 75, and 175. I took care of this VM. So my machine was this 192.168.0.8. Any message sent from this VM will go to here, and there is a reply due to the NAT. But but a packet sent from here to this system is not reachable, because this is the private IP and this is the public IP. I know this is the private IP as well, but that's how the configuration is worked here. The PAT is not enabled in this router. This was confirmed by not getting a reversal. So next we saw VSFTP backdoor service vulnerability. Basically, what is happening here is I set the arrows to 168 and choose the backdoor exploit in the Metasploit and run the exploit. And here you can see you're having the root shell. So basically, by sending a smiley character in the username there, it triggers a function which opens support at 6200 and redirects the socket incoming outgoing packets to the shell by opening a shell. Similarly, we found out another vulnerability, that is an Unreal IRCD backdoor vulnerability running on port 6667. So basically, when we send some input from the socket and we prepend it with capital A and B and followed by some semicolon and some command, the whole thing is provided into a system call, which ignores the A B and tries to open a shell. That's how the shell is obtained here. Made use of the Metasploit to set the IP address and to set the payload. That is, we wanted the payload. Then we came across the telnet vulnerability, which was unencrypted in the first case, and we saw in the banner that we can use the MSF admin and MSF admin as both the username and the password, and we were able to log into that. And unfortunately, the MSF admin user was in the sudoers list, and we could gather any root access through this user. And here we can see under this directory structure we also got the private key of the client that was being authenticated, uh, and also we use this private key to obtain a secure shell login that we have mentioned in our report. And also the another one vulnerability we found was the unsolicited file upload. The Apache server was running HTTP, it was not secure, and everything was in plain text, vulnerable to sniffing and the man in the middle attacks. But apart from that, it accepted a very much unsolicited file uploads. We could upload any file under any directory by making use of the curl command. Here you can see I have uploaded many PHP scripts that would open a reverse shell, and using the reverse shell whenever I try to access this resource. And here in this script I have made like my other system, that is the attacker system, will be bound to some port. So using netcat I have bound to port 1234, and when I press in my browser to access this resource, it tries to connect to my machine, and I would be able to access the shell that is opened here. So this was kind of a tweak that I did and uploaded a code. Apart from this, we had another default configuration run on the mm, PostGRS database service, VNC server, and rlogin. Rlogin didn't have any authentication, and I login as the root and specified the IP address, and I got the root access here. And in the MSF VNC login, the password was default password was the password. And in PostGRS, by making use of the Metasploit, I enumerated all the possible outcomes, and it was the default configuration username and password, that is Postgres and the Postgres. So because of, and also we found a SSL certificate bug here. You can find that both start and end time has finished and it has already been expired, and there is no valid country name and there is no common name here to which the SSL certificate is begin belonging. So the recommendation I suggest is to update the FTP and the Unreal backdoor services to remove the bug and encrypt the telnet packet, and also the private keys were compromised. So we need to encrypt them with the passphrases and remove the not secure users from the sudoers list. And we had to configure Apache server in a encrypted manner so that it runs on HTTPS. And we need to check if who is able to upload file and what type of file that needs to be uploaded. And the firewall needs to check always if there is a reverse shell that's being initiated by the server maintaining a stateful firewall. And we had several vulnerabilities also, like the Diffie-Hellman used less than 1024 bits that was vulnerable to brute force attack when run on some botnets. And it used the same key for the TLS and the SSL-v2 connection, so that we can probe with the SSL-v2 key and try to decrypt the TLS connections. That was the drown attack, and it also uses the CBC mod and vulnerable to POODLE attack. So by updating it to server version 3 to make the changes more robust. And we need to use highly cryptographic password for all the servers that was authenticated or operating on the default passwords, and also deploy some RSS log so that whenever a event happens, it is moved to the centralized server. So we collected all this document together, and we saw that we could access many private keys, access the root email users, and we could also leak some email by using the SMTP enumeration technique in the Metasploit, and we could spawn the shell and the reverse bind shells. So updating all this software, open source, which are mostly open source, and doing reconfiguration doesn't incur any costs, and we can do that. And the concept bit of a cost where we need to obtain new certificates due to the old one, and separate certificates for the TSL and SSL-v2 connections. And also, if possible, if we try to deploy some honeypot or the IPS kind of a thing, we can track down the signature of the attack as well. Thank you.